Now the eyeballs were created at the very beginning of the project, but those were just some spheres. It's about time we create the real eyeballs. So the eyeball has this very nasty pole on the front, which I recommend you get rid of. But for my particular project, I just want to make a front render, so the problems are not gonna show up in the end, so I'll just leave the eyeball as is. Now the eyeball has two layers. The layer outside is just the coating layer, and the actual eyeball is on the inside. So you see I am flipping the front of the eyeball inward and extrude in the pupil, and that's it. That's it for the geometry of the eyeball. The key to making a believable eyeball is to create the material and the textures. And in order to create a nice texture, we need to have a UV. For the eyeball UV, I just go to edit mode, select everything, and then look from the front and project from view bound. That will project the eyeball onto the UV space and make sure that the UV map fill the UV space itself, and that's it. In order to wrap the texture around the pupil, I need to convert the normal texture coordinate system into an angular texture coordinate system. The angular texture coordinate system consists of two dimensions. One is the distance from the center, and two is the angle around the center. However, there will be a nasty seam when the angle loop back to the beginning from 360 degrees back to 0. So that's gonna be a very nasty seam, and I need to make it a seamless texture coordinate. And the technique to do that is rather simple. You just multiply it by 2 pi, and then you calculate the sine and cosine values of the gradient around the center. And then you use the sine and the cosine values as two different dimensions. Just combine the sine, cosine, as well as the distance from the center into a XYZ texture coordinate. Once you put that into a texture, you can see that the texture is wrapping around the center without any seam whatsoever. Now, you don't need to understand this particular technique in order to use it. I mean, it looks like black magic, but it's rather simple, so you just need to memorize the few steps. And for those of you who really want to understand how it works, then I do have a video about this particular technique. I created this video a long time ago. It is the seamless texture tutorial. So if you want to understand the technique, you can check that out and learn more about it. Okay, let's move on. The seamless angular texture coordinate system is pretty much the key to making the eye texture. Once it's done, everything else is just simple tweaking here and there. So from here on out, for the rest of the video, is just me tweaking the eyeballs as well as the eye sockets until I'm happy about it, and that's it.